10th is Williams. Now my reasoning, Williams is gonna Williams. New team principal, and they have a rookie driver. That being said, I do not think there will be a team that doesn't score points this year. Points for you, points for you, points for you. Everybody getting points. So let's not get too upset with me just yet. Steiner shipping themselves in the P9 is Haas. I'll wear my heart in my sleeve in this situation. I'm still kind of bitter about Mick. Whether it was his decision or Haas's decision, I want Mick in a seat. So I am putting in P9, and Haas is going to Haas. Hopefully Haas has the sauce, but Haas won't know if Haas has the sauce until we see the sauce. But I hope K-Mag and Hulkenberg are able to show some stuff for Haas. I would honestly be happy if they exceeded my expectations. 8th and 7th. This one for me is a little bit of a toss-up. It really determines which alpha is actually a beta. So I'm going to put AlphaTauri in P8 right now. My reason being is obviously last year's performance was horrible. Yuki has to step up. De Vries has to step up. There is all of the pressure on AlphaTauri and their drivers, and I don't want to sound too negative, but the car looks like garbage. And ultimately, Alpha just hasn't shown up under pressure these last couple seasons, at least in my opinion, obviously. And then before that, Gasly had his win, but it's just been kind of downhill since that point. So I really hope that they can step it up. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive this year between the cars than it was last year as well. Number 7, the alpha that's the alpha on top is Alfa Romeo for me right now. The reason that I have them 7 and not higher is the same as Williams, is that Alpha's gonna Alpha. Alpha had a ton of reliability issues last year. Their team principal goes to Ferrari. They don't technically have a team principal per se. The team is most likely going to be sold, or I think might already be sold, but Sauber looks like they want out, or at least a new partnership, so Alfa Romeo's out the door. So we'll see what happens. I feel like there's a lot of chaos going behind the scenes that could really screw all of this up for Alfa Romeo fans. The car still looks great though. I think Alfa will have a few solid performances. I just don't think they'll be that consistent throughout the season. I'm putting everybody's favorite uncle in 6, and that's McLaren with Zach Brown, Piastri, and Norris. This one's going to make people mad. I'm assuming a lot of people mad, but hear me out. Again, McLaren comes in relying on their upgrade package that's supposed to be coming in a few weeks. Now, if there's any delays in that package, my concern is that the upgrades won't come in time for them to catch up to the rest of the pack. The other teams are going to be getting their improvements as well in their upgrades, so are their upgrades going to be enough to compete with the other teams? I don't know. I do think they can be competitive towards the end of the season. It's just more so when do they catch up, and if they have enough time to move back up in the championship. Next I have the weirdly okay dumpster fire that's Alpine. I don't know where to begin, but this entire team just feels like pure dysfunction. Like, I don't understand. They have a good amount of money. They have an actual manufacturer backing the team. They obviously have the infighting. It's really cool that they have 2 French drivers on a French team now. Like, that's great for obviously pride and everything like that. But the pride of the drivers, I think, will be the biggest factor that causes the team issues. They obviously had the reliability stuff last year, so I'm holding my breath for Alpine, like, really showing out. I think they're just going to stay pretty close to the same spot. Let's take a stroll into my shock number 4, and that is Aston Martin. So we just got the news that Lance Stroll broke both of his wrists in his accident, and so there's no real timeline for his return. They won't be back for the first race, so more than likely Dragovic is going to be getting the seat. The drivers say they love the car. Experts say the car looks great. They obviously have been working really hard to get the car up to speed. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it for Vettel, so hopefully they don't put Alonso out to pasture after this car and just drive him mad. They only had so far the one reliability issue with Dragovic's car, or Stroll's car, on the first day of testing, so we will see how it goes, but it sounds like they're going to be best of the rest, but we won't know till the actual season starts. Like I said, way too early to predict predictions. Quick side note, I made this entire video before final testing was over, so I regret everything I'm about to say. All right, hear me out. I have the top 3 teams right here, and I've gone back and forth I had everything set, and then I looked at the betting odds. We'll get into those in just a second for Constructors Championship betting odds. I've decided to put Ferrari at number 3. People are going to be angry, and that's fine. But in testing, it was clearly said that they have more slipstream, so they have more straight line speed, but it feels like the car doesn't have the same acceleration out of the corners. So, and that was their advantage last year, so they definitely went more for a Red Bull package. So maybe the car will be better towards the end of the season, but I think they're going to have to come out with some upgrades to really compete. But I do think the 3 will be very close. Number 2, and I'll explain my reasoning, is Red Bull. Do not be upset. Betting odds for Red Bull or Mercedes this year are so close, and I'll show you the numbers here in just a second. It's almost a toss-up. Towards the end of the season last year, Mercedes had almost closed the gap. A team like Mercedes that has the global conglomerate manufacturer that they are behind them, I do think that gives them more of an advantage than Red Bull, who has to have all the different sponsors and they're reliant on themselves. I'm taking a gamble here, but I believe Mercedes has closed the gap, and that this season will be a lot closer than everybody thinks. Red Bull obviously is looking great in practice, but I think overall Mercedes as a team will be able to put together a better season than Red Bull is. So the weak link is going to be Perez. Mercedes has been able to really focus both cars to each of their drivers. I don't think that's got to be a winning combination when it comes to Constructors Championship over individual accomplishment. So my list is pretty close to what Las Vegas had outside of a few different choices. Now, I will say this list was posted, I think, January 23rd, so this could be completely off by now and the numbers could have changed, but here's where we're at. We have a Red Bull at -110 to win the Constructors Championship. Mercedes +120 to win the Constructors Championship. That's a pretty close margin for second place, and that's kind of why I flipped them. I think Mercedes has closed that gap more than people think. Ferrari +550. So, I mean, I think they're taking into consideration all of the failures last year. Actually, fourth place, they have Alpine and McLaren tied at 10,000. If you expect McLaren to do worse this year like I do at the beginning of the season, if you can put in some prop bets against them, I would do it. Sixth place, they have Alfa Romeo at +13,000. Thought that was interesting. Haas at +15,000. And I think this is going to be a bettor's diamond in the rough starting out. And that's Aston Martin at +25,000. Now, obviously not betting on them to win the Constructors Championship, but betting on them in individual races if you're able to do better than what they're placed on. That might be a good one right there. And then bringing up the rear is Williams and AlphaTauri. I'm kind of in the same boat with that. I mean, obviously I had AlphaTauri above Haas, so Haas is going to be dropping down. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Hit the subscribe button down below if you agree with my list, if you like the betting odds. But I will see you all in the next video.